From there, the area of Shechem, today Nablus, he moved in the direction of the mountains. And east of Bethel, Bet El we say in Hebrew, he pitched his tent. Bet El in the west and Hai in the east. Marhaba. Shukran. This is more or less the area we have here in the west, where the sun is going down, Bet El and Hai in the east. And what you hear around us, that's the Bedouins in this area. It is very much the atmosphere of the time of Abraham. And now it says here, and there again he built an altar for the Lord. And you know by now what that means. And now it goes on, and it says in Hebrew, Vayikra b'shem Adonai. Now how do we translate that? Most Bible translations say, and he called upon the name of the Lord. The rabbis say this should be translated, and he proclaimed the name of the Lord. And Ibn Ezra, a rabbi from Spain, a very famous interpreter of the Bible in the Middle Ages, says it's a prayer or a calling prayer, a public prayer to the people around here to serve the Lord. The whole issue of mission and evangelism is very much an issue in Jewish-Christian relations. And normally Jews emphasize that they have never been missionaries. Now, this is not exactly true if we look at this text, because Abram from the very beginning has been a missionary. We read a few verses earlier that he brought the souls, the lives he had made in Haran. Even there in southern Turkey, he had proclaimed the name of the Lord. He had talked about his faith, about the God that had spoken to him. And there were people who joined him. Faith never is a private issue. When God makes a connection with a human being, this has to come out. This has to be told. This has to be proclaimed. God seeks the relationship with his creatures. That is one of the main reasons why he reveals himself and chooses people. Now, if there are today still Christians who call themselves missionaries, who give up all securities, risk to become the ridicule of their contemporaries, or even risk their lives because they wish to tell the world what they've experienced with God. If there are non-Jews today who behave like that, that's a heritage from the Jewish people. That's what we got from the Bible. It is very interesting. I have here a quote of one of the national religious rabbis. He says, "We found this in Abram. His first act when he came to Canaan in obedience to the command of the Lord was to build an altar to the Lord. And then what is connected to the altar, it's not about reconciling God with me, but it's a proclamation. It's a banner that is raised up. It's a flag that is hoisted to call and to focus the people, the surrounding people, to follow the path of the Lord and to practice righteousness and justice." And so, says this contemporary rabbi, so and only so, Abram became a blessing for his generation and all the generations of the world. Look into these ancient texts and understand that Abram from the very beginning came with this calling to be a blessing to the world and with his desire to tell the people around him about the one true and living God. And now as the sun goes down in the west over Bethel, and we look towards Ai, and we are at the place where Avraam somewhere here pitched his tent, as the Bible says, I would like to alert you to a geographical issue that is connected to this very action of Avraam. But in order to show you this geographical phenomenon, I have to teach you Hebrew. Look, this is the way how the word, the Lord, Adonai we pronounce it, some might say Jehovah or Yahweh, we don't know how to pronounce it, how it looks like in today's Hebrew script. And if I turn over and show you a picture of, it's actually a satellite image of this area between Bethel and Ai, you see in the mountains here the name of the Lord imprinted into this land. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Avraam did not know about it. It was some Orthodox Jews during the past years who discovered it. So also in this instance, the land goes together with the message and the action and the history that God writes.